Let's talk about your son, Mac. I have his new album, Resurrection and Revival, just released. So sorry to hear about his passing. Let's talk about his music.
Well, Mac was, this is my son Mac, McKenna Anthony Sinise. Everybody called him Mac. He's actually named after my wife's older brother who was a Vietnam veteran. He died in 1983. So we named Mac after Moira's brother, Moira, my wife. And when he was 9 years old, I got him a drum set. He was always kind of tapping on things. So my wife and I decided to get him a drum set. And he sat down the first time out, and I was able to teach him like the basic rock beat. It's just a very simple rock beat. Your foot does one thing, and this hand does this, and this hand does that. And he could do it like right away. And I thought, whoa, he's 9. You know, a lot of kids wouldn't be able to coordinate their limbs like that, but he was able to do it. And it was fantastic. And he started playing from 9 years old, and he played all the way through high school. He ended up going to USC Music School, Thornton School of Music. He studied composition and songwriting and all these things. Ended up writing a bunch of great music. He was diagnosed with a very, very rare, serious cancer in 2018. It's a rare cancer called chordoma. And I mean, so rare that on average every year, only maybe 300 people in the US are diagnosed with this. It starts in the spine. It's a tumor that grows in the spine. About 70% of the time they can take that tumor out and it's gone, it's cured, it's gone. But about 30% of the time it'll come back. And
I'm so sorry.
Sadly, that's what happened to Mac. It came back and spread. And so he fought that for 5.5 years, and he died January 5th. He was a very faithful guy. I know his faith helped sustain him through some very rough stuff because it disabled him. He couldn't walk, couldn't play music anymore.
He was part of the foundation too, didn't he work here?
He worked at the foundation, started working at the foundation in 2017. He was diagnosed in 2018. He kept working through 2019, but then the last thing he did for the foundation was he created a podcast.
Hello and welcome to GSF Podcast, sponsored by the Gary Sinise Foundation's Education and Outreach Initiative. I am your host, Mac Sinise, and today we have a very special guest with us, my dad, star of stage and screen, Gary Sinise.
And he did 2 episodes of the podcast, but then he had to go back in for more surgery, and that disabled him so much he couldn't return to the foundation. But we've just recreated the podcast. We've revived it in honor of Mac. We built a studio right over here. It's the Mac Sinise Memorial Studio. And we've just resurrected and revived the podcast. His album came out recently. It's sold 3,400 copies already. It's now on all the digital platforms, Spotify and iTunes and everything. It's out there now. And, you know, he wrote so much music that after he died, I started pouring through his iPhone and his Dropbox and all these files, and I found all these musical treasures that he never told me about, that he tucked away and wrote. So now we're working on part 2 of Resurrection and Revival. We're going to bring that out in the fall.